Blink number 5. Men need to be more aware of today's rape culture, and white women need to be more inclusive around feminism. Here's something every man should know. Women don't appreciate being yelled at as they're walking down the street. What some men fail to realize is that there's a very serious culture of sexual violence in the US, causing many women to feel vulnerable. The last thing they need is an aggressive stranger yelling at them. There's still a general attitude that women are not equal to men, that they're sex objects whose primary purpose is to service men. It doesn't help that the political system is dominated by men that want to regulate what women can and can't do with their bodies, furthering the sense of oppression and the idea that women must bend to the will of men. It's up to men to change the way the system is run. Predators are more protected than women, while classes are still being taught to teach young women how not to be raped, rather than teaching young men how to treat women with respect and that sex without sober consent is rape. And what about feminism? Recently, there's been a resurgence in the feminist movement, but it's still largely a movement for white women. Anyone can be a feminist, they just have to agree that everyone has the right to live on their own terms, and that gender shouldn't be a determining factor in a person's life. Feminism isn't about hating men, and neither should it be about promoting a particular type of straight, white Christian women. Yet this is the image that the feminist movement has often focused on. There have been numerous articles written about whether Beyoncé can be called a feminist because of the outfit she wears. People think that high heels are a man-made invention, and therefore a real feminist can't wear heels. Come on, people! There's no gender, sexuality, job, or clothing requirements to be a feminist. Let's drop the gatekeeper attitudes and get down to what's really important: equality. Blink number 6. Don't use religion as a tool for homophobia, sexism, or hate. Luvvie Ajayi has long been a faithful Christian, but that doesn't mean she hasn't felt strongly judgmental about organized religion, especially in the way it was used as a tool of oppression. Sure, there were deadly wars waged by religious leaders in centuries past, but religion is still being used today to oppress the gay community and prop up racist ideas. The hypocrisy has got to stop. Christians often point to Leviticus 18:22 when suggesting that homosexuality is a sin, something that's extremely hypocritical as there are a lot more supposed sins outlined in Leviticus that they don't mention. It also says that you shouldn't eat pork or shellfish, that you shouldn't wear clothing made out of more than one material, and that your hair shouldn't look rough. That's just a few of the 70+ rules in Leviticus. Elsewhere in the Good Book, there are rules against getting divorced, getting a tattoo, and endorsements for polygamy. The Bible also describes what Jesus looked like. It shouldn't come as a surprise that the description of this Jewish man from Nazareth isn't anything like the popular image of Jesus, which absurdly suggests that he had blue eyes and long, straight blonde hair. Nevertheless, there are plenty of powerful Christians who cling to this image while forgetting that Jesus preached for people to love thy neighbor. Instead, they spread Islamophobia and point to another gem in the Bible, that women should be considered the property of men. It's true that organized religion isn't perfect, but belief in a higher power brings peace to a lot of people, and that should be respected as well. Ajayi wrestles with the fact that the Bible was written by men and is therefore flawed, but she's also taken a lot of comfort from her faith. Blink number 7. We need to be better at how we use social media. Few things on social media can get Ajayi's blood boiling like hashtag abuse. Sure, hashtags can be useful in collecting posts related to important movements like Me Too, but there are far too many people online who are either clueless or purposefully wrong-headed in their use of hashtags. Here's a list of things to avoid: hashtagging every word in a sentence or meaningless words like the, ending or sandwiching a word with hashtags such as hashtag blessed hashtag, using 50 hashtags or hijacking an unrelated hashtag to get your post more views, and putting an apostrophe in your hashtag as this breaks the tag. If you tag I'm with her with an apostrophe in the I'm, you're actually just tagging I. But the list of shameful internet behavior doesn't begin and end with hashtag abuse. People are routinely shameless when they get online. Sure, nowadays marriages can happen as a result of two people meeting on the internet, but there are a lot of people who need to learn how not to be a creep. Here are some simple steps for how to reduce your creepiness and be a better social media friend. Don't poke anyone on Facebook. Zuckerberg should have gotten rid of the poke long ago, since it's only used by the kind of dude who accidentally touches someone's butt in a bar. Friends don't poke friends. Cheating dogs, however, do poke strangers, and it's definitely a sign that you've got no game. Stop being so gullible. This starts by not thinking everything you read online is true. Even if someone in your circle or a supposedly trustworthy news source posts a crazy clickbait story, it doesn't mean you should promote it further. We all need to strengthen our bullshit detectors, question what we see online, and be more vigilant against fake news. One simple step is never to trust anything written in the Comic Sans font. Ever. And quit sharing disturbing news on social media, especially when it's a death in the family or something particularly personal. No one should have to find out a friend or relative has passed away while scrolling through their timeline, and no one should be taking selfies at a funeral in front of an open casket. Have you no manners? Blink number 8. There are 5 pitfalls to avoid to be a successful communicator online. A lot of online entrepreneurs can easily prove themselves to be clueless by making some simple mistakes. The first, of course, is the use of Comic Sans. That has got to stop ASAP. The second is the continued use of a Hotmail or AOL email address. In the 90s, Hotmail accounts were all the rage. Now that address is a red flag that suggests you're not to be trusted at all. Who would want to do business with someone who appears to be frozen in time? And having an AOL account is like walking around in a pair of platform shoes. The third mistake is the use of annoying marketing tactics. Too many people seem to treat marketing as an excuse for harassment. If you have something you're trying to sell, don't beat people over the head with it or approach them like you're their lifelong friend. Over-aggressive and inappropriate marketing is an instant turnoff. Fourth is the use of pompous language. You could call this Kanye West syndrome. It's when you see someone referring to themselves as a visionary, trailblazer, guru, or some other grandiose term. Sure, it isn't easy to write a catchy bio in just a few short sentences, but these are all words that people should use only to describe someone else. When used to describe yourself, it comes across as pretentious and unintentionally ironic. Finally, if you really want to ace your online communications, you should avoid being an oversharer. There are many different kinds of oversharer, but here are some of the most common. The everything sucks oversharer. No one's timeline looks less appealing than the one who goes on and on about how every day is the worst. All it brings to mind is that this person needs to learn how to cope, or they should start seeing a therapist. There's the mundane oversharer. Typical update. Just woke up, gonna have breakfast. Yawn. Then there's the work oversharer, who seems to think the world needs to know what time her next conference call is scheduled for. Lastly, there's the body fluids oversharer, who thinks her bout of food poisoning needs explaining in intimate levels of detail. Your social media experience is only as good as the people you follow, and everyone's timeline would be better off without these people. Blink number 9. Internet fame is dubious, and it's produced 7 different kinds of questionable personality types. Shakespeare once wrote that all the world's a stage and we're just the players, but even he would be amazed at how appropriate those words are now. With everyone carrying around a camera in their pocket, we can all post episodes of our own reality show every day. This has led to some people becoming internet personalities by receiving endorsement deals and a certain level of fame and money. For others, it's led to desperate measures to try and attain this dubious level of fame. Internet fame has become less like traditional fame, which usually comes with some level of talent and creativity, and more a kind of infamy or questionable notoriety. Usually it's the cream that rises to the top, but now it's more like the dirt. Sure, it's human to want love and validation, and getting likes and followers can scratch that itch. But it's scary what people will do to get their 15 seconds, never mind 15 minutes, that comes with being internet famous. People will lie, cheat, and steal to come up with funny or heartbreaking stories or videos that they hope will propel them to infamy. One couple manufactured an elaborate pregnancy and miscarriage story in order to get their fleeting moment of online notoriety, while one of the author's online friends was caught lying about her globe-trotting vacations to get more likes in her circle. If someone does get a taste of fame, you'll usually find them falling into one of 7 different kinds of personality type. There's the number dropper, who can't go for long without mentioning their 500,000 followers. The brand is all about staying on brand, which is why they'll wear the same outfit every day. The quasi-famous got recognized in public once, and now they're constantly worried about losing their privacy. In reality, 99% of people are unaware of who they are. Next is the powerful threatener, who uses their status as an online influencer to make sure no one dares cross them, or else they'll feel the wrath of their followers' rage. The mismatched has an online personality that's entirely different to their offline one. They might be cute and wholesome on their YouTube channel and a rageaholic off camera. The revolutionary will have you know they're single-handedly solving every problem in the world and loves to talk about things like paradigm shifts. Finally, the pioneer spends all their time complaining about how everyone steals ideas from them, yet never seems to be doing much work aside from whining. Blink number 10. The 2016 election has shown how we need to do better. Luvvie Ajayi wrote the bulk of this book before the 2016 US election, so her comments on racism, feminism, and fake news turned out to be remarkably relevant when the book was released. But the election and its aftermath showed just how crucial it is that we pay attention to these issues. Leading up to the election, people had 2 choices: Hillary Clinton, arguably the most qualified person to ever run for office, and Donald Trump, a man who bragged about sexually assaulting women and is, in Ajayi's opinion, not much more than a hapless idiot. It's worth noting that 53% of white women voted for Trump, regardless of his misogynistic attitudes, while 94% of black women voted for Hillary. Since then, the crybaby demagogue that is Trump has gone on to promote a culture of hate and intolerance in the country, one that we must combat by doing better. Fortunately, there are a great many ways to do better, and some of them aren't particularly difficult. For starters, stop telling sexist and racist jokes. You might think they're harmless, but they perpetuate harmful stereotypes and narrow-minded attitudes. If your friend is the one telling the joke, ask them to stop. Let's put the days of being passive and looking the other way behind us. Start speaking up and standing up for equality, justice, and tolerance. Let's do better by teaching our children that being different isn't a negative thing. Teach them that beauty comes in all colors and shapes, and that a woman's voice isn't less important than a man's. Make sure that the next generation grows up with the knowledge that no matter what color, gender, sexuality, or religion, all people should be treated with equal respect. Thanks for listening to our Blinks to I'm Judging You by Luvvie Ajayi. The Blink's main takeaway is that there are many ways that we can do better. We can be less selfish as friends, more considerate users of social media, more aware of our privileges, and do more to acknowledge the very real racism, sexism, and homophobia that continues to affect the lives of so many. Internet fame has changed the way that people view success, and all of this has gotten worse, as evidenced by the 2016 election. But through actions both big and small, we can do better. Want some more actionable advice? Do something that matters. Maybe you're not in a position to donate millions of dollars or hours of your time, but there are definitely things you can do to create real change. Start by being more aware of what people who aren't exactly like you have to go through. If you're white, meet more non-white people. If you're a man, start treating women more equally. With these small acts, you'll be on your way to making the world a little bit better.